During really difficult times like this at the moment, when everything feels wildly out of our control, the only thing we can really do is have acceptance and then move on the best we can. Somebody who typifies that is the remarkable Billy Monger. Check out some highlights from our chat from when I interviewed him at the Happy Place Festival last summer. It's brilliant.
Let's welcome the remarkable Billy Monger out onto the stage, please.
Whoa.
Oh, Billy, I'm so chuffed that you could be here today and that you were willing to be on the podcast as well. So thank you for your time.
It's a real being here. I mean, you guys are the fans and everyone here is awesome.
It's a nice vibe, isn't
it?
I think they're a good bunch. They're nice people, I can tell. Was it important to you to sort of show everybody around you that was going to be your way of doing things? You were going to remain positive and you were going to have a goal that you wanted to see through?
I think I was surrounded by amazing people, I've got to say that. Like, my doctors were incredible. And the thing that really, I guess, set everything off in motion for me, obviously, when I had my accident and my surgeries, I was in an induced coma. So I was asleep. For me, it was like a long snooze up until, I think, my accident was on the Sunday afternoon when I was racing. And I think the first memories I have are from the Wednesday afterwards. All my surgery happened, or the majority of the operations happened, obviously, when I was asleep. So I didn't have to make any decisions about whether they were going to save my legs, whether they were going to sort of decide that they needed to be amputated, anything like that. So for me, as being I wasn't even 18 when it happened, that was a massive weight off my shoulders. The fact that I woke up and, okay, although this was the situation, the fact that I didn't have to kind of have a role in making that call, I think that would have been super tough for a 17-year-old to handle. And my first and probably the strongest memory I had from my time in hospital, and the thing that really, I guess, inspired me to be the way I am now, is the moment when I woke up, obviously realised what had happened. My doctor is the guy that did the majority of my operations. I was very lucky, in fact, that he was a military doctor. So he obviously has done tours in Afghanistan, and obviously he was working within a crew. But he told me later on, at a later point, that one day he had to do 30 of these operations in one day out in Afghanistan. So I couldn't have been in better hands, really, for someone to make the decision and do my surgeries for me. But the piece of advice he gave me, or the message he gave me quite early on, was he was chatting to me, obviously, when I realised when I woke up, I was probably a little bit panicked about the whole situation. But rather than talking, I feel like a lot of people in that situation would try and kind of comfort you and say, oh, it'll be all right, you'll be okay. He was like, the reality is that you've lost your legs, which is obvious, but rather than telling me all the things that I couldn't do, he told me all the things that I could do. He said, if you work hard, if you do your physio in the right way, you'll be able to walk again, you'll be able to run, you'll be able to cycle, you'll be able to do all the things that you do now and take for granted, but you'll still be able to do them. So, and that for me was like that kind of moment, that light bulb moment where I kind of went, it was eye-opening to me, because at that time, when you're kind of looking down, your legs aren't there, you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, I'm going to be in a wheelchair the rest of my life, things are never going to get any better. But the reality is that things will get better, but it would just take time.
How during that time, when you know that you've got to put the work in, and I'm not sure which is tougher, the mental or physical side of that, because both require ridiculous, insurmountable amounts of discipline and energy. How did you stay focused on being patient and your end goal without getting frustrated, without letting resentment seep into the situation? How did you manage that?
But there was definitely moments where I was frustrated. It wasn't all plain sailing in my recovery. It wasn't like I just woke up and decided, yeah, I'm going to be positive and that's going to be that. There were days where I woke up and I was like, oh, God, what am I going to do now? It's the worst thing is when you think about things that you have no control over, because at that time I was in a situation where I'd spend sort of 6 weeks when I came out of hospital being able to do barely any exercise, like a few little bits of physio here and there, and I just wanted to start training and getting my body prepared for what was coming up, but I had to rest, and that was difficult, and yeah, it's just it was frustrating in a lot of ways, my recovery. But like I say, the people I had around me that in those moments where you start to have those thoughts, it's always good to have someone there to pick you up. And not all of us are lucky enough to have that sort of the network that I had around me. I've definitely met people in my recovery and through my situation. I've met people with similar injuries to me that didn't have that, and it makes me just grateful for the people I had around me. My mum and my dad both took time off of work, which they were able to do, and in order to just support me. My dad, our house is like a really old house. It's like the least ideal house for someone with my injuries who's in a wheelchair. There's like steps up into every room. It's just like it's not good. So when I was in hospital for about a month. My dad was at home doing a bit of a home DIY job, putting ramps in and lots of other things like that. So yeah, I was fortunate, given the situation of my mum and dad, that they could be there to support me through it. I just like to live a lot, really. Like I'm still 20. I've got so much like life to live, and I'm very grateful that I'm even here, because I couldn't. There might have been a possibility that I wouldn't be here, in which case, well, yeah, nothing I could do about that. But yeah, I kind of just cracking on with things.
So with these goals that you set yourself, I think everyone in this room will have a goal of sorts that they want to achieve in their family life, in their working life, in their social life, with their mental health. We've all got these little goals, and sometimes it feels like, you can't get there. I can't reach that goal. Why can't I? Or they feel unattainable. What is your process of going from having an idea and setting that goal to achieving it? Is it something that's thought out, or is that drive just so insatiable you're just doing it?
I think it's so difficult, because a lot of people have got a lot of goals, and some of them, like, I've had goals that have been unattainable, that I've had to eventually realise are unattainable. But I think the way you get around that is just like I say, baby steps. Just like if you've got a goal to get to F1, you're not gonna leave that as your goal. And if doesn't look like you're gonna get there, then all's lost. If you make goals to, like me, like to race in Formula 3, to get a podium, which I did, then to get my first win, which I did this year, which was good. There's just keep it simple. Like, life's so complicated with all the other stuff we've got going on. There's no need to like, I think I've got a lot of friends that are off at uni and doing their thing, and they're stressing out about what they're going to do when they come out of uni in 2 years. And I'm kind of like one of those people. I'd say I'm quite laid back, with the sense that I'm like, things are just going to happen how they happen, and you've got to kind of just embrace it when you've got the chance to.